Right? You need to use, for example, big data techniques. And that's why big data became an important component in this digital platform. And finally, we see that how data, lots of data, low computing costs, low storage costs enable the breakthroughs in AI in the last 10 years. Right? And in the last 2 years, it has been super disruptive with generative AI and so on, right? So digital is actually this mashup of what I call commoditized technology. So it's not about technology, it's about the democratization of the technology. Everyone can afford it, right? Everyone can use it. A 2-year-old can use a phone better than I can, right? And all of this is internet connected. If you don't believe, switch off your Wi-Fi, switch off your 5G, what does the phone become? The wallet. Not even the wallet, right? It's useless, right? It becomes a Nokia 3270, which perhaps we know what it is, right? So I think back to the topic of, so when I talk about innovation, I'm talking about digital innovation ecosystem, and this is very important because for organizations to be successful, for companies to be successful, I think it needs to have this digital innovation ecosystem mindset. Because if you look at successful companies, they call it the FANG, which is Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, right? This FANG, and that's more actually, right? They all are successful because they know how to leverage on digital technologies on a digitally enabled ecosystem. All right, and that has resulted in the breakthroughs and the disruption that we see today. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that would basically briefly describe to us what form of ecosystem that is being developed in order for us to be able to come up with a technology that is being used. I like the term that used, democratization of technology. At the end of the day, at the end state of things is that the technology is needed by the community, required by the community, can be used by the community, and basically that democratization of that technology was the ecosystem that the organization was focusing on in making it available. Thank you. That's a very insightful outlook on the innovation ecosystem as perceived by your organization. Can we move on to Dato' Wahid? Yeah. All right. So the same, yeah. What is it innovation ecosystem is to you, and how do you mobilize the ecosystem within your organization through your experience?
Thank you, Prof. Kamal. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Just before I begin, anyone here cannot understand bahasa Melayu? Semua boleh kan? Okay, so maybe I will speak more in bahasa.
Yes, go ahead.
Because I think I can express more. Probably some terms we cannot express it in bahasa lah, but the feeling, I will use maybe bahasa more than English. Thank you, Dr. Auni, Prof. Kamal. I still address you as professor lah. In fact, you cannot address me as professor. I've already retired as a professor. Although I still serve UTM under Amal Bakti. It's voluntary, no pay job with UTM. And of course, the first panel, Dr. Nur Halim, good friend. Sometimes we are good. Sometimes we start quarrel how to get our innovation to the market. But good to see you again, Dato', today. And of course, I can call Prof. Hashita my boss lah kan, Akept. We still work with Akept and many colleagues here. Probably, Prof. No, sorry, I saw from UMK, used to be in UTM. Maybe some of you, maybe I cannot recognize every one of you lah. Okay, thank you for inviting me. So as I said, I've retired already 2 years, retired as academician, and I left my job as VC in 2020 after serving 7 years. And of course, inshallah, I will share some of the what we did in UTM regarding this innovation ecosystem. So let me start with when we talk about university. University is all about innovation. It's all about creativity. It's all about exploring. It's all about thinking ahead. Because at the end of the day, we know the function of the university is about knowledge. We try to discover knowledge. We work on invention, what we can do to, for example, improve the quality of life of people. Now we have to handle the challenge of the environment, the climate change, even don't forget about when you talk about digital innovation. Don't forget about the scammers. Don't forget about the people they can just disrupt us. Just a matter of second. Even Dato' Ahlin sebut tadi, many among us. Dan kita pun sama kan, we used to receive calls kan, and try to kita ni baru pension kan, they know they have some money. So that's happened all the time, and don't forget that. So that's our job. Part of the innovation that we do on technology, especially UTM lah kan. You mentioned about AI faculty now in UTM. We also very much looking into these values. So don't forget that values, culture, humanity also needs innovation. How do we can apply it now to storm or to at least to manage some of this digital innovation that maybe destroy us. I don't know if that's what is yeah. Because I imagine any time in matter of second you can do anything with our technology. Okay, so with that background, so innovation, in fact I got my small reference, because in UTM we inherit a culture from our previous VC. Datuk Dani Ujang, he wrote books every year. So when I took over, I have to write. So at the end of the day, I got 6 basically our aspirations. It's annual aspiration as a VC, and one of them was meneraju inovasi ke arah kemakmuran sejagat. Kemakmuran sejagat is dipanggil universal prosperity, which become our root. And we are very lucky because the founders, they come with a very beautiful philosophy, vision and mission, and we translate in very simple now, prospering lives. So with that, at that time, recognizing that we have to be innovative community lah, kan? Not only academician. I think we understand kan the function of academician. They have to do research, and especially when UTM become RU, kan in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. But when I took over as VC, it was 2013. We are only 3 years as RU, and I can share with you how we have to probably reset our ecosystem. From lecturers who focus on teaching, and now we have to change our focus, change our KPI, then to manage this one aspect of innovation, the activities of research among our academician, and because we talk about ecosystem, so the researcher, I don't think they can work well if they are not supported. So this is where we need also to change the mindset of throughout the entire organization. And we don't work only on staff, but we have to also produce students with innovative mindset. And probably that describe our innovation ecosystem. And because I work in facilities and asset, so we face with people who just see the data. They recognize they receive thousands of complaints, but some of them just sit there and just accept it, and they become immune to it. So that's why we have to shift that to them and tell them that you have to be critical, you must be analytical, find ways to, instead of facing it every day with complaints, but how can we change that ecosystem, more preventive, for example, or because they are so used to it, so they just tell us, okay, today is 100 complaints, just without any, I don't know, any sense of try to do something. So that's my personal experience. Yeah? And of course, I can share with you specific example when we talk about the innovation ecosystem. Of course, we have the NCRI, research and innovation, very focused on research and innovation, but we start with commercialization. Yeah? Always. But we also innovate on that. For example, we are more facilitative in the form, in terms of allow our staff to own their spin-off. I can share with you when Dato Asma, who was the DG, and then he became the VC of USM, he cautioned us, can U2M do that? Because we have certain policy that to her against the general order. But we have to take our own risk, of course, calculated risk, and we allow our staff, our researchers, to own their own spin-off. And of course, there is a way to manage that. And we also established, for example, undergraduate innovation center. We invited people like Bakstan, kan, apa nama lagi satu tu? Kalau lupa nama-nama dia ni, come to us, speak to students how to be innovative lah. And of course, to commercialize our product, we have innovation and commercialization center. We work closely with Dato' Halim at that time. And in many setup of the government, we have KIK, Kumpulan Inovatif and Kreatif. And this is where I saw one group from our facility management group at technician level. They face this problem of a lot of complaint about the leaking in the bathroom. So they come up with an idea, innovative idea, I call it, and that is where when we allow them, to be innovative lah. And don't forget about blue ocean strategy. We erase, we reduce, and this is where sometimes quite difficult to reduce it. This is one thing that mungkin Dr. Azhar can help us. Yeah? Because I keep questioning our daftar lah at that time. So we moved to digitalization. I give them example. Before we use this system, we apply a leave, annual leave, kan? It take maybe weeks to get approval. But after you use our system, it takes seconds. So where do you put all these people who work on that now? I want them to work on in other area that we need people to be there, not the system. So, but they don't. I can't get the answer until now because we still keep the same numbers of people working in the university. So that's one question lah, kan? How we can be innovative enough to reduce these people from handling this used to be sometimes quite funny. I tell you, boleh ke? You tak bagi time ni? Nanti habis masa. Okay. When I was again in my office or facility, we manage fleet. So I saw them manage this fleet using A3 paper, and they put all this booking lah. Masukkan address, masukkan destination, apa semua. So I asked them, you still use this A3 paper? Nampak tak? They immune to it. They know the mistake done about the address, salah nombor dan sebagainya. So nobody care to shift it to using the system. So nampak tak? The lacking of, I can call it analytical thinking ke, creativity ke, ataupun they are not allowed. This is very dangerous. If they are not orang kata apa, they don't feel safe to shift their mind, and we can ask them to shift to have the new mindset, but they don't shift to the new mindset because of the environment that they are in. So, and last but not least, we establish this is still masa Datuk Zaini pun kita dah buat. We have our own pemandu UTM to look into processes, to look into all these where we can make us more efficient lah, and reduce our resources. Probably one last Prof Kamal is you can see now the building in UTM KL, our residency. That was another brave move. Started with Zaini and we finished it. And it's a loan, and now alhamdulillah, I think I was told we can pay the loan quite smoothly based on the income that we generate. So with that, I hope we understand the ecosystem that we have in UTM. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much. I was still waiting for the Bahasa Malaysia version as promised. Anyway, I like the fact that Dato' Wahid emphasizes on the focus of the university, where the innovation adalah ke arah kemakmuran sejagat. Itu the ecosystem yang diwujudkan. Now I'm speaking on the bahasa version now. Itu adalah ekosistem yang telah menjadi yang diwujudkan untuk menumpukan kepada kemakmuran sejagat. The translation of that ecosystem was basically put on the task of the three fundamental tasks of the university, which is knowledge generation, that is a research and innovation research, and then you are talking about the teaching innovation, which is actually about teaching is about what knowledge you have discovered from your research, then you share it with your students, your counterparts. So you have to teach and you have to write so that the knowledge didn't get lost. Yeah? And then the other one is how the knowledge can empower the community, how the knowledge that the university generated can be used to empower the community. So the innovation ecosystem was centered around facilitating these fundamental activities of the universities, and that was a translation on the research spin-off, allowing the lecturers to have a spin-off companies. Basically, when you have a spin-off company, you have the new knowledge that is being acquired through your research being used to empower the community. So those are part of the elements that constitute the innovation ecosystem. I also like the fact that Dato' Wahid pointed out the ecosystem. Does the ecosystem allow the people to innovate? Sometimes they call this old habits doesn't die, or old habits dies hard. I said old habit doesn't die. Sometimes you are so comfortable, so used to the current system, suddenly somebody injected a new idea in improving. Does the ecosystem encourage that change to be taken up? Or would the ecosystem would be more comfortable in settling with doing it the old way? So that is where leaders will have to start coming in and look into that matter in your organization. Yeah, I think I see that fair enough for Dato' Wahid. Okay, so can we now proceed to Dato' Nur Halim on your definition of innovation ecosystem, and what will be the element that you emphasize on in your MTDC? Yeah.
Last week saya minta dekat Dato' Kamal, Prof Kamal kata bagi saya last lah, saya kena bagi senior saya cakap dulu. Tapi bila last ni dah habis semua benda nak cakap. Okay, I think first and foremost, when we talk about ecosystem, you must remember ecosystem is a scientific word. In fact, it is even a biological word, biological ecosystem. That's why tadi saya setuju dengan Prof. Dia kata jangan lupa bila cerita pasal ekosistem ni mesti ada shark, mesti ada predators. Sebab kita cerita ekosistem macam semuanya cantik, bagus, indah, belaka. Itu syurga saja yang macam tu. Anyway, saya nak cakap sikit mengenai bagaimana, bila kita cakap ekosistem, we always think about what is the cosmos, yang besar, yang indah, yang canggih, yang tak tercapai sebenarnya oleh kita kan. Sebab bila kita belajar ekosistem ni, teori ekosistem ni, dia akan sebut kena ada funding, ada government, ada industri, ada public, depending on which guru you follow, dia mungkin ada 8, mungkin ada 7, mungkin ada 20. Yeah? But we must remember that at the end of the day, that Quran pun sebut, tengok alam, tengok badan. Have we even considered ourselves the ecosystem itself? Because macam mana Rumi cakap, Rumi kata, semalam saya bodoh, saya nak tukar semua orang. Hari ni saya pandai, saya nak tukar diri saya sendiri. So whenever we talk about this innovation, a lot of the discussion are always about how people should change. Kalau kita baca surat khabar, dia akan kata university short sendiri. So university should change. Kalau kita baca some experts, kononnya innovation, dia kata yang ini kena tukar, yang ini kena tukar, duit kena banyak, yang ini. So everything is about orang lain kena tukar. But what about us? First, do we have the knowledge to do innovation? Then do we have the drive to do innovation? And then do we have the skill to lead the innovation? And these are things that a lot of people, either because of kebiasaan ataupun mungkin kerana apa-apa masalah yang lain, kita jarang berfikir macam mana saya going to acquire knowledge on innovation, we're going to drive this innovation at my level, and we're going to lead this innovation at certain other levels. And this is a lot of these kind of discussions are not being held. Sebab itu kalau kita cerita pasal universiti, saya selalu, saya baik dengan orang universiti, saya selalu marah sebab surat khabar journalist, there are hardly any journalist in Malaysia yang fokus on science. Maknanya kalau kita pergi ke UK, ke US, kita ada jurnalis yang boleh bercerita pasal sains. Dia faham masalahnya, dia tahu cabarannya, dan dia boleh menulis fairly, dengan adil apakah isunya dan bagaimana kita ingin. Tapi di Malaysia ni kita banyak sensationalist journalist. Jadi bila sensational, kita katalah university short sendiri. Isu bila kita bercerita pasal benda ni dan ditambah dengan budaya kita dalam masyarakat, government salah, orang ni salah, orang tu salah, so semua orang salah. Tak ada orang yang betul kecuali kita lah yang bercakap betul. So in the context of ecosystem ni, saya ingin membawa kita kepada aras yang rendah. Maknanya, what is your department? What are you doing on innovation? What are your organization doing on innovation? And how do you actually think about it so that you can innovate? No, kalau kita for Muslims, for example, ilmu sebelum iman. So do we have the knowledge? And when we talk about knowledge, who do we follow? Who do we read about? Who do we follow to talk about innovation? And I can tell you, all of you here, at least to the Muslims here, that none of you will say, bila kita tanya genius, kepala otak kita akan teringat Einstein. Because that's the propaganda that has been propagated all the time. Do you know that Umar al-Khattab is a genius? Have you ever thought about it that way? No, I don't think so. Do you know Khalid al-Walid is one of the geniuses of war strategy? No. I don't think we talk about it. I don't think any of you talk about it in that manner. No, because why? All revolution of knowledge, all revolution of science, from the Greek science to the Islamic science to the Renaissance, everything is based on knowledge. It is based on knowledge. And that knowledge arose out of a knowledge-based culture. And that comes from people, individual in the society who actually made and create the knowledge, who made an effort to create the knowledge, to spread the knowledge, despite the difficulty. Tak ada website. Nak tulis buku kalau 500 muka surat mungkin tinggi ni. Yeah. So what I mean here is that at the end of the day, when we talk about the ecosystem, the big ecosystem is fine. But when we talk about the small ecosystem, which is our personal individual self, then we actually have a lot of problem. And the reason why I say this is because most of these things is pyramidal, meaning the base has to be strong before you can create a strong country with innovation ecosystem. If the people is not strong, then how do you want to create if the base is not strong, the pyramid is not strong, macam mana nak cerita nak unicorn, lepas tu apa benda satu sekali, apa benda perkataan saya pun tak ingat lah sebab I don't bother to remember it. Apa benda some kind of pre-unicorn the government is trying to do. I mean, these are all what we're trying to do. Yeah? Because at the end of the day, I share you my personal example here, which is not so much on technology innovation, but about innovation per se. When I became the CEO, I joined MTDC in 1993 from the estates, from Guthrie Estates. I was in Guthrie for some years. And before that, I was also with a Singaporean company doing sales. And I always say to a lot of people, kalau you all nak belajar pasal how to talk, how to pitch ideas, dua benda you boleh buat. Sama ada you buat kerja sale atau you keluar tabligh 40 hari. Then only you can listen to people arguing with you without telinga you jadi merah. Kalau tak tu, especially professor, minta maaf lah professor ni memang satu spesies yang sangat susah. Because they are so used, daripada kindergarten ni nombor satu, sampai darjah 6 nombor 1, SPM nombor 1, masuk universiti first class, PhD pun walaupun tak ada first class, saya pernah dengar ada orang cakap I punya PhD first class. So nak cakap dengan dia memang susah. Okay, so when one of the simpler examples I nak tunjuk kat you di sini where we can work on innovation at our level, but we must to drive this innovation with our people, they must have something dia nak cangkuk. Why am I doing this? And a lot of us, when you talk about innovation, cerita pasal duit. Kan? That's why banyak profesor mata kelabu sebab duit. Profesor. I cakap ni sebab yang mudah, sebab innovation, researcher, buat duit. Jadi semua orang nak buat duit. Dan orang Malaysia, saya baru cakap tadi masa sebelum masuk, the Malaysian population contributed to the scammers easily 5 to 10 billion. Easily. Sebab apa? Nak kaya cepat. Innovation, nak kaya cepat. So, ada benda yang parallel kat situ. So anyway, when in 2001, I think, I was assigned a new job. And one of my jobs as the general manager then was to manage fund. And fund management ni dulu-dulu in the 90s, even now dengan some of the government department, is apply, approve, bagi, habis. That's how it is. Macam Datuk Wahid kata tadi lah, buat komplain, dapat komplain, that's it. You cannot create good companies like that. So when I was transferred to the fund management, I said, okay, fine. We process dan kita buat. But kita sekarang ni kena make sure we bukan saja monitor, but we assist. Now this sounds like benda yang simple, but it is a quantum leap. If you pegawai kerajaan biasa yang cuma proses dan monitor, ni boleh lulus, layak, tidak, tak cukup data, for you to then kata, macam mana aku nak tolong, that's a quantum leap. It's really a quantum leap. That's why saya sebut tadi, first, we must have the knowledge apa benda nak innovate. Secondly, bila kita ada staff, macam mana kita nak cangkuk benda tu? You nak cangkuk pasal naik pangkat je? Not possible. Duit? Not possible. It's not possible. So I said to them, you must remember this company. I gave them an example, one company. When we first gave them the money, dia dekat SME bank, incubator, ada 12 pekerja. We gave them money, we assisted them, dia buka kilang, 100.5 hektar, ada 150 pekerja. I said, you remember, when you gave him money, he had 12 people. Now he employed 100 plus people. You see, you already created 90 jobs to 100 jobs. But if you cangkukkan benda ni, nilai tu kepada duit, then say, what is it for me? What is it for me? I don't have anything. I said, no. You must always see this, our job, especially government job, as an opportunity for you to do good for your own benefit later, nanti. Bukan sekarang. Can you imagine, from 12 kepada 150, you are now feeding 100 families. Mungkin kalau 4 satu family, 400 orang. Kalau 100 family ni pergi pasar, 100 kedai kalau dia pergi separately. Kalau lori dulu pakai untuk 12 orang satu ni, sekarang ada 20 container, ada 50 lori. You must think like that. So kita kena change our mindset for looking at innovation ni from a different perspective. And then we also then look at how do we lead this innovation. And this is the more difficult one. I was just saying to the panelists tadi dalam bilik, it's not easy because In physics, object at rest, very difficult to move. Kan? Very difficult to tolak, very difficult. Kan? And this is what it is now. That's why we have been talking about innovation. I have been doing innovation since 1993 when I joined MTDC. A lot of change. When I first started in 1993, tak payah cerita lah nak buat company ni. Saya pernah meeting di sebuah universiti tersohor. Sebelum masuk tu, TNC tu dah cakap, this one 93. Dia kata, Alim, Kang, my chairman nak masuk ni, you tolonglah. Sebab dia tak setuju lah buat commercialization. Betul, chairman masuk, kaki baru masuk, satu langkah kaki masuk tu. What all this talk about innovation, dia kata, what I'm going to tell to my people from geography, from religious study, from, so you all budak-budak sains buat duit. This was 1993. So we spent a lot of time trying to say that, okay, we're not talking about making money. Must remember this. Every one of you who are in this field, don't talk about innovation only about making money, because that you miss the forest. Because if you read the reports from Europe coming out of Europe now, they are talking more about the universities collaborating on the knowledge venture, not about setting up startups and making money. You know why? Because startup is not dependent on the university, it depends on the entrepreneur. You can have the best research, but your entrepreneur is not good, the team, then you can't. Right? So saya akan berhenti di sini dahulu. Sebelum saya teruskan lah.
Thank you, Dato'. Okay, I think let's focus on the key points that, in my perspective, what Dato' has mentioned. You were concerned about the definition of innovation, which is so much now is being grounded by economic benefits, but rather we should be talking about innovation that arrive us towards satu ummah yang lebih sejahtera lah. Okay, that's what I'm seeing the parallel here now, and the key point that you were talking about, the ecosystem that is needed for this to happen, for us as an individual to embark on the innovation mindset. Stop pointing fingers, stop blaming, because that wouldn't in any way help us to move forward, but rather start assuming the roles, start assuming the responsibilities, and perhaps even appreciate friends and colleagues who are attempting to do innovation, and rather than looking at them, looking at their mistake, perhaps trying to contribute how to correct the mistakes that is encountered. So in other words, you're emphasizing on ecosystem where the community itself is embarking on the innovation mindset. And that's the ecosystem required, because if I'm attempting something and my friend keep on pointing out my mistake, I could just lose my energy. I got tired. I gave up. Yeah. But if I have colleagues, friends who says, hey, maybe we should start looking at this, looking at that. As a community, we are actually working on promoting the innovation ecosystem. We perhaps may face a lot more success, possibility of success. Now, I can see the parallel in all three of our speakers. One is talking about empowering or democratization of technology to empower the community. One is another talking about inovasi ke arah kemakmuran sejagat. And Dato' Alim perhaps wrap it up by saying that stop thinking innovation for the economic prosperity of a certain person, certain group of people, but rather how can this effort benefit the community at large. So in the end, we are talking about an ecosystem that is in place for us to be an innovative society which is targeted towards our sustainability, our existence. Okay. Am I on the same page with the speakers? Okay, all right, okay. Okay, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, do you have anything to say about this perspective that we just spoke about? We'll have about a few questions raised up by this is a conversation. Yeah? Please don't allow me to basically control the microphone. You have to speak as well. And I know you want to say something. Please, anybody want to say anything on this angle and perspective? Please, Prof. Rosalina. Yeah. Can we have a mic for Prof, please?
Test.
Thank you very much. Okay, saya Ruslina daripada UMK. Thank you for the learned distinguished panels here. Right. So I have a question. I mean, I concur with all the three panels when saying about the right ecosystem that it has to stem from personality, is what Dato' Alim said, and you talk about kemakmuran sejagat. Okay, but the issue is that how do we actually nurture the innovation culture? Implicitly, yes, you explain about the importance of knowledge, the power of knowledge, correct? Okay, but my take is that, right, if you look at most of the readings which I read something about on innovation, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay, inclusion. Do we really practice, especially in the context of university as well as SMEs in Malaysia? To what extent do we really practice this DEI actually to drive the innovation?
Or even organization. We have organizations in here as well.
Yeah.
Universities, SMEs, and organizations.
SMEs and other organizations, because these are the key points. If I can go, even Amazon, okay, Apple, Netflix, okay, has practiced DEI very well in order to drive this innovation. But sorry to say, from my perspective, okay, being the DVC before and now is as a sitting professor, okay, I don't see that we have done much on these three aspects in order to really drive the innovation culture. Okay, that's number one. Can I have number two, Prof. Kamal? Or I will just leave it later. Okay, that's all.
We'll settle with number one first. We'll reserve your question for
Yep.
number two.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You want to respond this, or should we take another question? Okay, please, yeah.
Rahim. Before I respond to that particular question, I think I'm probably out of place here, right? I'm from the industry, very different from our distinguished panels here. But I think it's important also to understand how the industry works, right? Especially for all of your mainly government offices. And in this digital world, right, if you look at a lot of concepts in terms of how do you deal with a scenario where your stakeholders, the rakyats, the companies you serve are already digital. And I think the challenge that governments around the world face today is that they have to move from control to relevance. It's a very important concept, right? And that requires, that relevance requires agility, because we as rakyat is going to totally, embrace new things very rapidly, all right? And if the government can't keep up, they'll become totally irrelevant, right? And I think we are starting to see that today when they're not able to cater for some of the changes which is happening in the real world, for example, right? An important topic that maybe we can address later. But coming back to that, now if you look at a lot of companies like what you mentioned, like Amazon, Microsoft, and so on, they have very strong diversity. Now, in a business, they don't do this just because it's the right thing to do. I think they do this right thing to do, but there's always also an economic reason why they're doing this. So for example, why diversity? Why is diversity important for companies like AWS, Microsoft, and so on and so forth? It's because for us to operate in a global world, if I just take the ideas from orang putih, you won't be relevant in the other parts of the world. All right? There is a reason why we are diverse. We are not leveraging the capability and the ingenuity of a lot of other people, men and women, right? Blacks and whites, right? Muslims and non-Muslims, for example. I think that is, that there are reasons for this. And I think to address the ethical, you'll be surprised that many of these companies, like for example, your question on will AI take over the jobs, for example, right? I think that's a big concern. I'm sure all of you are concerned, right? But again, there is this ethical principles that you can actually lead to business benefits. All right. So, for example, in the area of AI, a lot of companies today we have something called, ethical principles, and they do a risk management on ethical principles. So that what they do is they're doing the right thing, because in an ecosystem business like the Amazons of the world, like the Googles of the world, if your ecosystem hates you, you're dead. You're no longer relevant, right? You're no longer relevant. And that is the reason why things like ethical principles becomes a very, very important thing. So I think you cannot just, I know as Muslims we do it because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but if you think from a company, a business world, there's also ways for you to link doing the right thing, not only for the society, for the world, but also you are actually benefiting the business itself by doing the right thing. And I think that's always the case in many of these, especially in today's company where that. So for example, do you know what Grab's mission is? Who knows what Grab's mission is? Kita beli Grab selalu naik kereta semua kan? What's Grab's mission? Siapa tahu? Tak tahu Their mission is to drive Southeast Asia forward by creating economic empowerment for everyone. Come on, that's powerful, right? Government pun tak berani cakap macam tu kan? So you see, the core, the mission itself is an ecosystem punya mission, right? Because they are one of the most successful, I think, ecosystem platform player in this part of the world. Thank you.
Okay, great. To the question, how do we nurture the culture? And Dr. Zahar was emphasizing on the fact that any innovation must be associated with moral conscience, and the inculcating of diversity perhaps will have to also look into the relevance of things. There's a business reason of it. It's not purely economic. Yeah. Okay, got it. Okay. How do we nurture the culture?
Prof. Roslina mention universiti kan, tapi itulah bila orang pencen nak bercakap dia kata dulu kan. Dulu kita buat macam ni. Tapi saya follow UTM lah untuk maklumat. Kalau kita perasan UTM sekarang ni, Datuk Fauzi sebut innovating solution. Dan saya rasa that's a very strong message juga. Everyone will think of apa yang kita berdepan, we have to solve the problem. And we have to be innovative to solve that problem. Of course, to get everyone on board, not easy. Sama tadi kan Datuk Alim bila mention about innovation je making money kan. Sama juga bila kita cerita pasal entrepreneur mindset. Kita cerita je pasal entrepreneur mindset, semua dari businessman. Semua calculate how much money we can generate because we are entrepreneurs kan. Padahal entrepreneur mindset is different. Is not as necessarily become businessman, for example. So again, Dr. Azhar remind us of we cannot continuously say amanah kan. At the end of the day, dia tak rasa pun. Some of them tak rasa pun this is something yang they will be accountable kan. Dan nak inject the sense of accountability pun not easy kan. Dia akan start daripada bawah kan. Not everyone orang kata apa akan rasa they are accountable kan. Jadi I don't know, saya tak ada jawapan yang spesifik for that, but I think there are continuous effort. For example macam saya sebut di UTM tadi, kita we always send that message. We cannot, contoh UTM lah kan, universiti lah kita bercakap pasal universiti, where we need to be contohnya innovative in our curriculum, in our research, in collaboration with industry. We somehow we have to compete for what? What is the purpose of competition? So saya menyebut bahawa macam ni, macam at that time dulu. So kita menyebut bahawa kita believe in the values that we have in UTM. So we want at least to capture a certain number of people, potential leaders, to be with us so that we have the opportunity to tell them. So we develop the technology, we based on sciences kan, dan kita ada our own tadi kan. We want to capture this, but we don't want to we cannot do for everyone in Malaysia. We are only berapa percent, 20, one of the 20 universities. But we have certain values that we want to tell them, come here of course we show them we are among the best, for example, kan, of course among the top RU kan. So because we believe that we can to certain extent dapatkan satu pool of manusia ni with us, believe in our system, believe in our values, cukup dah kan. Kita tak boleh nak solve the problem of the world kan. Tapi along that line that's where kita always remind our researchers, for example kan, don't shock sendiri kan. Betul, kita sensitif walaupun kita kata tadi sensationalist, journalist kan. Tapi we look at our own self, we check the fact, kita shock sendiri tak. So that's why we have system, for example, bila buat research mesti address the community, mesti address the the industry. Tak ada lagi shock sendiri ataupun silo. That's why in UTM, for example, kita establish our core values. Kan, alhamdulillah core values dah macam dijual bagus juga lah kan. ISES dipanggil kan, integrity, synergy, excellence and sustainability. So partly to create a culture, in fact continuity lah, bukan kata new culture, new values, is actually continuity from our, as I said, founders tadi yang ada filosofinya, visionnya, missionnya. So nurturing that, I think it's not an easy job. Can continuously push, leading by example, tell them, show them, allow them, can accept their mistake, for example, agree to disagree. I mean, that's why we example kan.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I mean, perhaps the culture can be nurtured when you start instilling this feeling. Be concerned about others, about people, not just be concerned about yourself. Syok sendiri, be concerned about yourself. Kan? Datuk, you okay?
Yeah, I just want to expand on my thought just now pasal university changes ni. First and foremost, setengah universiti 2 tahun sekali tukar VC. So if you expect the VC to change university, susah lah. You know, that's why I said, yeah, I mean that's the fact, right? Okay, so so I want to expand, or rather I want to stress more about this point that I made just now, that it is not about others, it's about ourselves. You see such a large organization. I mean, MTDC, we had only 100 and plus people. You know, it's quite easy, walaupun it's not easy, for me to shape the organization. You know, I created a book club because I wanted everybody to read, from driver all the way up. And I wanted everybody to be comfortable talking to senior people. So they all presented the books that they read to me. Not an easy thing to do. But I can do it because I have 125 people. But universities are difficult because besar dan ramai orang pandai. Sorry, I kena insist point ni. Because it's the truth. You know, on my almost 30 years in MTDC dealing with all these universities, kadang-kadang I pergi universiti ni, dia mengata orang tu sebab I deal with all universities. So I pergi universiti ni, dia mengata orang ni. Kadang I pergi jumpa profesor ni, dia mengata profesor tu. I pergi jumpa profesor tu, dia mengata profesor ni. That's life in universities. You know, it's huge. If university is an ecosystem, it has many sharks. As well as ikan paus dan ikan bilis. Okay, so I want to stress this point just now. At the end of the day, it's all about us. And again, tak naklah bunyi macam ustaz. But at the end of the day, when we stand alone, it's not about others. What have we done? Kita flip the story. Katalah kita bekerja di sebuah organisasi yang rasuah atas bawah kiri kanan. That doesn't mean, do we mean we have to follow? No. We must do what we believe in. You know, walaupun semua orang boleh rasuah, kita tak boleh rasuah. So sama juga sekarang ni, we are in an organization which we think should be more innovative, but they're not doing it. Maybe sebab bosses tukar very frequently, maybe for many reasons. We still can do it. Why do we need to go and look outside and say, why are they not doing it? Because I can tell you that when I was not the CEO, I was leading a department within MTDC. We had a seismic change because we moved from MITI to MOSTI. That's actually quite a big change, you know. And with the change, that point in time, Arwah JJ wanted to focus on venture capital only in MTDC. But I was doing technology transfer and commercialization. So what is the choice that you have? Do you just follow? What do you do? So bila rancangan Malaysia at that time, 2004, it must be rancangan Malaysia ke-9 if I'm not mistaken. Bila rancangan Malaysia, that mostly level, budget untuk venture capital saja. Adalah sikit untuk commercialization. I don't know how much, I don't know. But my argument was not for me. I was saying it's like this, because when we form at MITI, we are not talking only about commercialization of public sector research. The main agenda under MITI, which I still believe until today should be one of the main agendas, is to transfer knowledge to the public, to the industry, to the people at large. It is not about just commercializing. So I said, look, if you don't give us the fund to do this, then all these SMEs, what are they going to do? So I, on my own, and Marema, my assistant at that point in time, we go and pitch to EPU direct. And we got the money. Rancangan Malaysia ke-9, one of the largest budget actually we got. Now what I'm trying to say here is that, there are things which you can do. If it's not wrong, against the law, does not disturb anybody else, why? Just go and do it. I was saying just now, for example, in university, professors have a lot of say in how the students are shaped. How do we interact with our students? How do we teach them? Do we allow them to argue, with us or not? Do we have an open, a classroom where people can just say, okay, now with all the Arabs in the class, they will argue with you lah. But dulu-dulu kalau budak Malaysia je kan semua tawaduk, especially budak perempuan kan, dia sibuk je ambil nota kan, mana ada argue dengan profesor kan. So at the end of the day, I still believe, it's all about ourselves. If you want to drive innovation, we ourselves have to go and acquire the knowledge. We ourselves have to have the drive to push it within the limits that we are allowed to. Does not matter, because at the end of the day, the question again, Dato', it's not about why didn't you reach that? Did you try your best or not? Because kita ni KPI kan, kita punya otak kita ni gagal tak gagal. No, that is not the way to look at things. Have you given your best? Have you tried your best? Have you done what you should have done? Kan? Bukan tak boleh, because Vice Chancellor tak boleh, So Vice Chancellor yang kena. I give you an example. No, pengarah KPT lo. pengarah lo. I give you an example which I think I don't really like. Walaupun he's my friend, the current Vice Chancellor of UTM. In UTM, there is the membrane group. I tell you, the membrane group generates millions. Even before Fauzi was the Vice Chancellor, even before he was a professor, that membrane unit generated millions. How did they generate that millions? What did they do to generate the millions? Are they using the conventional commercialization model? No. They are using one of the other technology transfer. Because technology transfer ni, sorry lah dia technical sikit sebab former ni kan. The continuum is very wide. There is the transfer of technology which is pro bono, which is what you are doing now as lecturers. Not really pro bono, people are paying for it, but not almost tak dibayar lah. Kadang-kadang you bagi nasihat tak dibayar, pro bono. Then on the other side of the continuum, that's where all the commercial transactions take. But there's a lot of other technology transfer thing that you can do, innovation transfer. Of course you do teaching, you do consulting, you do collaboration, you do advisory, and then of course then you do commercialization. So there are so many other things on innovation that we can do, even if our VC going to be changed tomorrow. We can still do, kan? So sebab itu soalannya ialah bukan KPI gagal tu, soalan pada kita ialah what can I do to the best of my ability with the resources that we have. Yang itu tadi Dato' Wahid tu saya setuju. An entrepreneur is a person utilizing whatever resources that they have and maximizing it to the most optimal condition. That's an entrepreneur. Right? Kita orang Malaysia sebab kita nak kaya besok. So kita shortcut. kita minum air hikmat malam ni, besok tak study setahun boleh jawab.
Okay. Alright. Ada lagi soalan daripada audience? Let's move away from the university angle sikit. Kalau misalkan, okay, please, yeah. Alright. Silakan Puan.
Assalamualaikum. Datuk, Prof, saya Intan daripada Pejabat Daerah Petaling. Okey, kalau kita dengar daripada tadi tu, kita dengar banyak more on industrial, university kan. So saya daripada kerajaan. So bila di kerajaan ni sebenarnya kita nampak masalah rakyat. So sebenarnya banyak innovation yang kita boleh buat, yang kita boleh bantu rakyat. Cuma kami di kerajaan ni kita ada limitation. So kita tak nampak di luar daripada skop kerajaan ni ada bodies, ada industrial, ada universiti yang boleh bantu di pihak bawahan ni, yang mana yang masalah rakyat, contoh banjir, kesihatan, keselamatan, kesesakan jalan raya. So ada tak pihak universiti ataupun industrial yang di bawah kementerian-kementerian yang buat kajian berkenaan dengan masalah-masalah dasar rakyat ni kan. Sebenarnya bila kita ada masalah di bawah kerajaan ni direct, kita tak tahu nak salurkan macam mana. Ada pertandingan-pertandingan inovasi tapi di peringkat kerajaan lah. So dia start kat situ je. So menang habis di peringkat kerajaan, mungkin kalau boleh pergi ke peringkat kebangsaan 2-3 grup, lepas tu sampai situ je. So dia start. So benda yang inovasi dibuat tu tak ke mana. Sebenarnya itu adalah solution yang dia boleh buat di seluruh negeri ni di dalam Malaysia. Cuma di peringkat kerajaan ni kita tak nampak next tu apa. Kalau tim ataupun ada leader yang boleh guide sampai ke sukses tu adalah, tapi banyak sebenarnya adalah penyelesaian kepada rakyat. Contoh kalau kita tengok banjir, isu banjir di Selangor, banjir kilat semua, kalau industrial ataupun universiti boleh bekerjasama dengan kerajaan ni, so kita boleh selesaikan masalah rakyat. Cuma di situ yang kami tak nampak laluan tu. Itu boleh. Saya minta tolong.
In fact Puan, you just jump the gun. I baru nak tanya tadi, macam mana nak promote this culture of collaboration so that the universities are offering the solution needed rather than the solution offered.
Okay.
Silakan.
Dia boleh cerita panjang lah kan. Saya pun antara orang yang sangat tak puas hati dengan majlis punya servis kan. Bila kita komplain, dia prolong the proses kan. Dah email. Ini pengalaman lah. Sebab saya baru jadi warga Selangor untuk makluman. Lebih kurang 5 bulan. Dah tukar alamat selepas bermasters di Johor selama 34 tahun. So Johor ada cara dia, di Selangor ni rupanya ada cara lain lah. Okey, saya rasa ada peluang. Boleh saya cerita peluang dulu Kalau saya lah melihat, sebab kita pun walaupun universiti, kita pun government servant, ada banyak limitation. Tapi saya melihat kepada banyak sangat peluang untuk kita as government servant membuat inovasi. Even at our levelnya tadi saya cerita kan, di pejabat pemandu tu, kenapa dia boleh hidup dengan A3? Maknanya nobody yang pergi tengok dia, you boleh hidup dengan A3, sedangkan kita dah ada orang di dalam universiti tu. Kita ada, sekarang kita panggil digital department dah. Dulu kita panggil CICT, old name. Sekarang kita panggil UTM digital. Go to them, talk to them, ask them to prepare for you a simple system. Sampai sekarang saya, walaupun saya pencen, sometimes saya book kereta UTM, I got the message. Tak payah isi apa pun. You see? Dan UTM ni promote sikit lah kan. Kita dah ada UTM Smart. Everything on our just touch. Kan, even they send us a birthday wish. Kalau orang tak pencen lah, saya dah pencen, tak ada. Okey, tapi saya nak buka ruang kepada banyaknya cara untuk kita collaborate. Cuma saya remind, kalau kita bercakap dengan orang negeri ke, dengan state ke, dia nak fast solution. Saya pernah bercakap dengan Datuk Khalid Nordin, Datuk Seri, Datuk masa tu. We are not magician. You cerita pasal traffic jam. Johor kadang teruk juga kan, traffic jam dia. Kuala Lumpur traffic jam berbaloi sebab dia memang kita tahu sesak kan, tapi Johor bila traffic jam kita tak boleh accept. Sebab sepatutnya simple nak kan. So tapi dia kata, boleh tak UTM solve the problem? Kita kata yes we can, but don't ask us to do it tomorrow. Sebab politician dia tend to nak cepat. Itu reminder kita. Tapi nak ceritakan pengalaman kami di UTM, bekerjasama dengan state government. Kita establish apa yang dipanggil apa? Dulu kita panggil, kita nak nama sehebat lah, kita kata Johor Innovation Valley. Kita nak create ekosistem lah. Ekosistem dia ialah Johor ni bersama dengan universiti membantu ke state, daerah untuk menyelesaikan sebarang permasalahan. Tapi again, we are not magician. Now we need fund. Ini yang masalah kadang-kadang. Bila kita jumpa je state, dia susah. Walaupun Johor, kita after this platform yang kita establish, saya akan claim this is the first antara state dengan universiti, Datuk Khalid Nordin. Kita panggil, dia tak setuju dengan Johor Innovation Valley, dia jadi Institute University Johor. Macam tu lah dia kurang. I think the state functioning, dan kita dapat bajet melalui peruntukan tahunan state, tapi very small. Tak apalah. Tapi kita can move banyak benda. Contohnya kita punya profesor dah duduk di majlis-majlis daerah tau. Cuma saya, of course, hurdles kan. Bila bahasanya duduk dengan idea saja kan. When come to solve the problem, ada boleh lah. Siapa nak bagi duit kan. Kalau Datuk Khalid ni dia pernah duduk sebelum tu, dia jadi menteri pertama kan. Dia duduk rasa UTM ada duit, UTM gunalah duit dia, yang kita pula kata kita tak ada duit. Ini benda yang real. Tapi saya nak mencadangkan Selangor sepatutnya lebih friendly. Saya rasa lah Selangor sepatutnya lebih friendly. You ada banyak universiti di Klang Valley yang sepatutnya boleh establish a platform. Macam kalau dengan industri kita ada PPRN. So tak salah saya rasa, tapi somebody kena buat, make a first move lah. Saya buat that first move. Kita jumpa menteri besar first, second, jumpa balik lepas tu sembang-sembang, mana apa ni, apa jadi ni. Rupanya bila kita bercakap dengan menteri besar saja yang faham. Ini sorry. Dia nak buat, tapi bila kita bercakap dengan officer tak faham. Sorry ni orang pencim cakap kan. Second time dia kata, Wahid apa jadi ni? Kita dah bercakap dengan officer, tak jalan juga. Saya ingat lagi the third time nak establish that platform, ni nak ceritakan the difficult, the challenger, you have to pursue it. 2-3 hari lagi nak raya, kita jumpa lagi Datuk Fauzi, okay, sampai dia confident, dia convince dengan idea kita. Okay Wahid, dia hijack pula idea kita. This is state punya. Tak apa, universiti tak payah apa-apa, kita nama kita virtual platform, tapi kita banyak buat benda. Dan of course kan, orang hari ni banjir ni tak tahulah glamour tak glamour kan, tapi recycling kan, environmental punya isu, sekolah dengan IRDA kita banyak buat on sustainability punya agenda. So kita turun ke yang Pasir Gudang ada racun tu, sungai tu yang bukan sungai saya, di Pasir Gudang yang dulu ada warna lah, keluar amonia. Kita turun Kim kita turun. Tapi kalau tak ada tu saya pelik kalau di Selangor. So mungkin tanya your boss lah kan. Ada ni yang kat sini yang kita kata, can you talk to your boss? Kan, ataupun puan ni bos, kita tak pasti. Sorry, kan saya tak tahu nama kan, tak tahu siapa kan your position. Tapi I think universiti sebenarnya kan, kalau Datuk kan siapa yang pengalaman, universiti very welcome sebenarnya sebab dia ada KPI. Profesor ni walaupun dia tak pernah dengar, tapi kalau you so sepatutnya dia macam mancing tau. You pergi ikan dia tak tahulah your experience kan, profesor ni dia ada KPI. Kalau industri datang, majlis datang, dia akan pick up that issue. Cuma lepas tu macam manalah, itu cabaran lah. Puan?
Okay. Ada lagi? I just want to respond a little bit. I think macam yang disebut oleh Datuk, coming from saya pun ex-university, the shift in professors ataupun the university's recognition now is how relevant they are. That's the shift. It's not about how good you are at the ranking. That is going to die. Personally, I feel there's an old game. The game now, are you needed by the society? Are you referred? Adakah society, masyarakat merujuk kepada you dalam menyelesaikan masalah? That's the next wave of university's excellence. Are you able to solve the community's problem? Who has been supporting you? And I think this is perhaps where both parties punya, macam tadilah yang disebut oleh Datuk Nur Halim tadi. We as a community, let's start exerting that. Listen, I've got banjir punya problem. Can you show me or rather can you make yourself relevant in our through your expertise. I think the universities, like it or not, is needing that. Jadi kalau lagi banyak universiti itu boleh menyelesaikan masyarakat punya isu masalah, lagi pengiktirafan itu diberi oleh masyarakat, dan itu yang saya rasa the next move lah. Okay, Doc, you want to say something?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Please, yeah.
Maybe I'll bring this back and see how concepts, say, for example, from companies like Amazon can actually give you a framework on doing this. Now, I hope one day you will become the top boss of the government. You know why? Because if I look at one of the reasons why Amazon is one of the largest in terms of market cap in the world, they have a simple vision. You know what the vision is? It's about being the most customer-obsessed company in the world. And you know why this was the case? Because the founder of the company, which is Jeff Bezos dulu kan, he says, very nice, dia kata, customers are always beautifully, wonderfully dissatisfied. We are never satisfied. Even when they report being happy, actually they are not happy. So just imagine if I can solve that problem, that customer problem, all right, and really make the customer satisfied, my business not be very successful. Very simple concept there. Now, if you think about governments, who's your stakeholder? Rakyat, us. We pay tax, betul tak? Lots of tax, right? And we are actually the main stakeholders. And I like the concept that you bring, because this is what in Amazon we call it working backwards. So when we drive innovation, it's about looking at the customer problem and answering the question, how can I make this customer happy? How can I make rakyat happy? And that's how governments can make themselves relevant to the rakyat that they serve. Make sense, that? Now, there are mechanisms to do that. So if you look at, and this is all centered around innovation, because to be able to achieve that, because there's going to be millions of problems that you have to work backwards on, betul tak? All right? So for us, we have to organize ourselves based to support innovation. Very fundamental. And this is where I think it's going to be a challenge for the government, right? And this is why most governments in the world are talking about digital transformation. It's about this huge transformation that can happen in terms of enabling the government to address the rakyat's problems, right? Through organizing themselves to be ready for rapid innovation, right? And some of the characteristics that we focus on is, I think we discussed tadi, is culture. But guess what? Semua company ada culture kan? You all ada culture kan? How do you implement that? How do you ensure it's happening? Most of the time, tengok slogan dia. Betul tak? I mean, mungkin tak lah, but my experience has always been this company ada slogan. The only time you discuss about that culture, you tak ingat pun culture dia apa kan? And then it's during your end of the year evaluation. Did you actually do this work based on that culture tak? Betul tak? Alright? But at Amazon, I can tell you every decision we make, we will base on the cultures on that board tadi. Every decision. Can you imagine if you were to do that? For example, if working backwards is about trying to make that customer happy, that's going to be questioned for every investment I make, every activity I do. That will be asked. The second part is this, right? Because a lot of this working backwards will actually introduce problems. Betul tak? All right? And in many cases, these are new problems. I need to innovate. Remember, innovation is about putting in, new process, methodology on an existing process, kan? Right? I need to innovate, actually. All right? And normally what happens is that, mula-mula I have to do it manually. Figuring out how do I solve this particular problem. I don't know what your problem is, but figuring out. But then very quickly, in a digital organization, you need to automate it. And this is what we call mechanisms. I will then model it, automate it. Because if I don't automate it, I cannot scale. Mungkin untuk seorang, I boleh solve. Right? Macam kalau you have problems for accepting, website ke, nak bayar, ada problem, you call in, you try to solve it, then fix it, automate it. All right? So that's mechanism is the second element. The third element is organization. So in the case of Amazon, what we do is actually we normally keep to very small teams. Now Amazon is not small, Amazon is considered the biggest startup. You Google what's the size of Amazon employee. Probably as big as the government of Malaysia tau. Very surprising, huh? And yet they are very agile. So to break down into what we call 2 pizza teams. So every time when someone can eat 2 pizza, we split into 2. So it's always very small, agile teams which run this. That's why in London Business School, they talk about adhocracy in the government. You've heard the word adhocracy, that? How I can actually take a problem, I can bring together people from any parts of the organization to solve that problem, and they recognize for that problem. It doesn't matter whether they fail or not. If they fail, learn from the failure, for example. Fail fast. And it's not a 3-year project, it's probably a 3-month project. All right? This is the new way of thinking within governments to make them more agile. So organization is very important. And the last is about architecture. Because as you actually deal with all these problems, if you don't have a supporting technology architecture that can rapidly, try out new things, fail fast, scale if it's successful, again, it's not going to be a problem. So the old way of doing, for example, IT in buying your hardware, server, nak beli hardware je berapa lama? 3 tahun, 2 tahun, 1 tahun kan? Habislah. Your problem is gone by then, right? But this is where I think things like cloud computing is important because it's pay-per-use, right? I can start small, I can expand, I can reduce, right? Whenever I want. It becomes a macam beli electricity, for example, right? So these are the kind of, what I call the important things of organizing for innovation to address that problem of working backwards, where your stakeholders are, the right.
Yes, Dato'.
Puan, I think government department punya innovation ni memang challenging lah. I mean, that one goes without saying. Maybe what you can do is sebab sekarang ni semua industri ada dipanggil ada unit untuk industri, yeah? So maybe you can contact them. Cuma the main problem with government is because all government in the world, bukan kerajaan Malaysia saja, semua government dalam dunia, the way they set up memang macam government. I mean, with due respect to the Americans, you pergi some of the Bible Belt states, dia orang pun macam third world juga, orang miskin berlambak, so don't feel so bad sebab kadang-kadang orang kutuk government kita macam government kita ni terlampau teruk. No, generally it's like that. That's why startups will win against large companies. So sebab tu kalau you baca one of the example used in war strategy, macam mana Khalid Al-Walid menang dengan the Romans. Because the Romans bila time makan, general dia nak makan, lieutenant general tadi kan. Dinner time. No, the generals kena dinner. Masa tu lah orang pergi serang. That's how large dinosaur-like organizations are set up. All over the world, the same. Now, in this case, I would suggest that you try to contact, because kalau tak boleh public university, private university berlambak. Sunway now very active. Bukan nak promote private university, but they are very active and dekat office you. I'm sure they will be happy to work with you if the public universities are not interested, slow or whatever, Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to face the fact. No, the other thing, number 2, again, I'm going back to the personal issue here just now. You see, whenever you go against the current, you jadi Hang Nadim. Korang faham ke Hang Nadim ni apa? Tak faham tak faham, Google lah lepas ni. So, bila kita jadi Hang Nadim, that's why I sebut tadi, there must be the drive and you must have the grit. Saya sampai saya retire ada 2-3 benda yang saya nak buat tak dapat buat. Bila saya retire, baru-baru ni PMX announce. Saya 30 tahun. Maybe, kalau tak 30 tahun pun banyak tahun lah. I've always promoted the idea that we, the Muslim world, have to generate a fund which we can fund research. Similar to the malaria initiative. Rather than kita asyik buat, bukan tak betul, betul buatlah masjid semua. Tapi we have our own problem that we could have solved because semua orang Islam banyak duit yang dibagi pada scammer. Bagilah pada dana yang boleh buat research. 30 tahun saya try nak buat benda tu, saya bercakap bukan platform saya pernah bercakap di platform World Bank di Singapore dan banyak platform all over the world. Tahun lepas budget speech PMX announce, tapi I'm not sure what has happened to the idea of creating a fund sama macam wakaf tapi dalam bentuk dana sedekah. So this is where when we talk about innovation at the personal level, pertamanya we shouldn't be disheartened. But we must be clear what is it that we want to do and why we want to do it. See, bila kita ada mission, our mission should be big. But it should not be too big sampaikan besok kita give up macam nak kurus. Kan? Hari 31 hari bulan this year. 1 hari bulan malam dinner. No, so meaning that we must know what we want to do, and that what we want to do must be big enough so that kita will make an effort to go for it. But it shouldn't be too big to the sense that kita boleh tak apalah, tak ada apa-apa kalau kita cancel. Kan aku sihat juga. Macam tu lah kan kalau kita punya tu. So government ni is difficult. State government is even more difficult. Federal government not so difficult. But again, at the end of the day, innovation is all about risks. Kalau kita nak buat innovation without risk, then most probably it's not innovative. We are just repeating the old thing. So there's no risks, right? So it's about risk, and it's also about that desire which is supported by greed. We must go forward. We must move forward. Sebab kalau kita tak move forward, kita bercakap je, then eventually kita jadi bunyi macam broken records lah. Kan, orang ni tak betul, orang tu tak betul. I mean, okay lah, semua orang tak betul bila nak betul. So somebody has to go and do it. At the end of the day, I still say that innovation, just like benda yang saya sebut tadi, starts with ourselves. Because the moment kita kata innovation kena tunggu boss, then it's difficult. Because our boss might not be interested and government lagi teruk. PTDs, sorry, some of you are PTDs kan. Hari ini, dulu Kementerian Sains, ni saya cerita betul Kementerian Sains, KJ masa tu ada idea which, this particular idea saya sokong KJ lah, banyak benda lain saya tak sokong. KJ punya idea was kita, the Appalachian Trail dekat US tu. So, I don't know if it's KJ or gang-gang dalam Musti, why don't we have our own trail? Which then we can teach environment, we can, people can exercise, macam dekat US. Bila check kena pergi satu kementerian lain, bukan kuasa Musti, kementerian tu reject lah. This silo thing. Tapi kalau KSU tu, PTD atau TKSU situ pindah ke Musti besoknya, dia akan sokong. Sorry kepada pegawai-pegawai takbir yang ada kat sini, but that's how the government is set up. Hari ini aku sokong, besok aku reject. Hari ini aku reject, aku pindah sana, besok aku sokong. That's how things are. That's why making work in the government so difficult. Right? But if you have an idea and you want to push it forward, you must go and do it. Kalau tak, dia tak jadi apa-apa. Dia cuma jadi mimpi indah.
Okey, ada lagi?
Ada soalan komen?
Oh, ada lagi tambahan. Okey.
Semangat ni, besok ni kita kena ada semangat untuk.
Datuk, berkenaan dengan Datuk tanya dia, saya nak tanyalah kan. Contoh macam Datuk maklumkan tadi, macam tadi yang masa KJ nak buat bring trail tu kan, rail tu kan. Okey. Kita ada Kementerian Inovasi. Okey. Adakah Kementerian Inovasi ni dia ada satu pool of pakar-pakar inovasi di Malaysia ni di situ yang mana yang mengkaji, macam saya more tu rakyat lah, kita nampak masalah rakyat. Contoh mengkaji masalah rakyat sekarang ni. Kalau contoh macam tadi Kementerian Transportation dia punya work in silo lah kan. Lepas tu kalau Kementerian Kesihatan dia punya. Jadi Kementerian Inovasi ni wujud untuk apa? Kan. Jadi sepatutnya di Kementerian Inovasi ni
Kan ada orang mesti ke ni? Kalau tak suruh dia
saya
jawab
tak-
lah, saya tak nak jawab.
Saya nak bertanya lah. Cuma saya juga berpandangan sebagai rakyat. Sebab
Ya.
saya rakyat juga.
Ya.
Kan. Contoh, kalau Kementerian Inovasi ni, sepatutnya diwujudkanlah. Di bawah pilar Kementerian Inovasi ni ada kluster pengangkutan, kluster keselamatan, kluster subsidi contoh, kluster apa-apa. Jadi pakar-pakar ini berada di kluster-kluster yang betul untuk bersama-sama government membantu masalah rakyat di bawah ni. Itu yang saya nampak. Kalau di state kita buat kecil-kecil je. Sebenarnya masalah ni satu Malaysia alami. Kalau macam Selangor, kita buat Selangor je. Tapi negeri lain macam mana? Jadi kementerian itulah penting sebenarnya. Jadi kementerian tu dia tak boleh work in silo dah lah. Kalau nak work in silo boleh, tapi dia kena ada kluster-kluster. Macam contoh Selangor, kita buat kluster. So kalau kita di Selangor kita ada kluster. So kita fokus kat kluster tu untuk kita bangunkan. Jadi di peringkat kementerian pun saya rasa contoh Kementerian Inovasi pun patut ada kluster-kluster tu lah untuk dibantu oleh pakar-pakar yang sedia ada ni lah. Itu
Orang
pendapat
mesti
saya
ada
lah.
kan boleh jawab. Actually, cluster tu ada dah. Under academy science ada clusters, under macam-macam lah. Tu saya kata tadi silo je, susah nak jawab soalan ni in public. In private saya boleh bercerita dengan you lebih panjang lah. Sebab I'll give you an example why government silo ni. Masa COVID, one of the main problem with COVID was about social interaction. Ya, maka saya dengan kawan-kawan entrepreneur ni yang robot ni kita pun bercerita lah pasal robot. Right? So one of the first robot yang kita install di Hospital Tunku Jaafar UKM was developed by one of our companies with the consent of the the hospital management. Kemudian kita ingat bila dah settle yang itu, kita bolehlah pergi tempat hospital lain. Kita pergi HKL, ya Allah. I don't want to say, I tak naklah memburukkan HKL, tapi cabarannya sangat berat. Saya mewakili agensi kerajaan. Mesti adalah sebuah kementerian. Produk sudah dites di Hospital Tunku Jaafar. Pergi ke Hospital KL, saya punya entrepreneur nak give up. Itu sebab tadi saya always talk about drive. Tapi pasal silo ni saya rasa mungkin Rsog boleh buat kos lain. Sebab nanti kita cerita benda lain.
Tak apa. Don't want to get.
Kita be safe.
Yeah, I think we are addressing the issue here, which is good because at the end of the day, the intention is to highlight the issues that we are confronting, and we try to our level best to provide the solution. The culture of competition, for some reason, is more given emphasis compared to the culture of collaboration. Sedang kita tahu bahawa collaboration itulah yang kita perlukan untuk menggerakkan. And I can understand because every departments want to be felt appreciated. Every vice chancellor, I wasn't vice chancellor. Every vice chancellor want to be felt, appreciated. So sometimes this appreciation effort by the community is nurturing the culture of competition rather than nurturing the culture of collaboration, where in culture of collaboration we all take the credits, no one person, right? So that could be one area yang, as you mentioned correctly, Rsog will have to address. Yeah.
Just one thing I just want to
please,
add. I think, again, sharing about how we deal with that problem. I mean, even companies will have the same problem, right? I think one of the reasons why I felt I moved after 17 years at Microsoft to AWS was to really understand how such a huge company can become very innovative. All right? It's considered a large startup, an innovative company. So one of the things that you might be very interesting to you is that despite that it's an innovative company, it does not have an R&D department. Tak ada. So how did they innovate? They embrace grassroots innovation. Remember I talk about working backwards? Siapa yang tahu masalah customer? The CEO ke? No. You on the ground will know. All right? So what we do is that if you can write a one-pager explaining about the problem and the proposed solution, all right, and it's and we have a 1 hour discussion on this piece of paper, kita bukan PowerPoint, written. We have a good discussion among the leadership, and they say, oh yes, okay, let's follow it. You will, the person who actually leads it will take lead of it, will be recognized for it, will be supported for it to solve that problem. And if you fail, tak apa, we learn from it. All right? Now this is, I think, again, adhocracy, remember? A problem, create a small team, solve it, and recognize this team, right? And what London Bridge call adhocracy, and the whole system, you don't have to revamp the system, but you just add this capability of enabling this system to happen. I think that's not very hard, in my opinion. It can be done. It can be done, right? So that's how it is. And perhaps the role of MOSTI is not to try to control. Remember about relevance and control? It's not to control everything, but rather enable this thing to happen, support them, fund them, for example, right? Because these are new things coming up that needs to be solved. And I think that's the role that they should be playing, because you can have all the smartest people, innovative people in MOSTI. Tak boleh. It will not happen. The innovation will happen on the ground, addressing real problems. Something maybe to be considered, as especially the younger ones become, through Rsog, become more learned and be able to actually drive this significant change, in my opinion. Thank you.
The bottom-up idea approach, yeah,
yes,
rather than all the top-down idea approach, yeah. Maybe we have to start inculcating the bottom-up idea approach, yeah, because they understand the problem. They are the one who's on the ground. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Any other points or question? Yeah. Silakan. Silakan, tuan. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Almost good afternoon to everyone. Saya Najmuddin from Institute of Teacher Education, Ceras Campus. I would like to draw back our attention to our leading and innovation ecosystem, which is at the first we try to what we call talk about economic view of the innovation, right? So I really interested with Datuk Nur Halim opinion on changing ourselves first in leading an innovation ecosystem. So in your opinion, I mean, I'm open this question to all the speakers. What is the most challenging part, and what is the simplest solution that we can make to lead an innovation without cost any money? For example, I was in examination syndicates before. To solve the problem of handling examination SPM in Malaysia, we gather a lot of from Bomba, police, and all sort of things, and then we communicate to solve this problem. But in smaller institution, I don't think that is being practiced. What is the challenge and the what you call simplest thing we can do? Thank you.
I'm stumped. I mean, offhand susah nak. I was thinking tadi macam mana kena bagi example ni. Tapi I mean, let's just give a rather silly example. This is not a true story, but has been circulated in innovation classrooms about the so-called space pen. Okay, it's silly. It's not true, but it showcases that it's not about money, right? Now, ada hikayat di internet dan juga banyak juga pensyarah-pensyarah inovasi kadang-kadang bercerita pasal cerita ni. Masa mula-mula dia orang nak pergi outer space dulu kan, dia orang terfikirlah kena tulis. Masa tu Amazon pun belum ada lagi, nak pakai cloud. Jadi dia orang kata nak tulis record So kita kena cipta sebuah pen yang boleh menulis dalam zero gravity, right? So menurut hikayat ni banyaklah duit digunakan oleh NASA untuk mencipta pen yang boleh menulis dalam keadaan zero gravity. Sambil tentu pun boleh tulis kan. So dia orang pun pergilah ke outer space. Hang Nadim di Russia, dia punya soalan lain. Dia kata macam mana kita boleh menulis? Pakailah pensel. So this is where actually the issue about innovation ni. Innovation is not, that's why I sometimes bila kita bercerita too much on the commercial aspect of it, we miss the forest. There are so many things that innovation in terms of cari file. Kalau dulu-dulu kan government biasa ada pencari file. Ya? Adakah isunya cari file atau isu file tak naik? Ini faham lah kan? Kadang-kadang kalau pejabat tanah file tak naik. File dah jumpa dah dia tak naik. Ada apa isu dia? Kan? Kita kata isu kena digitalkan. Naik tak naik juga. So I think the first thing is about asking the right question lah. Yeah? Because if you ask the wrong question, we got the wrong answer. Kan? Macam mana kita menulis menggunakan pen di outer space? Buatlah. Tapi kalau bagaimana kita nak menulis, pakailah pensel. So, generally speaking, I keep saying to innovate, you cannot detach it from entrepreneurial. Because the entrepreneurial ni bukan buat business. Entrepreneurial is about maximizing, optimizing, utilizing limited resources at your hand to generate impactful outcome. So, when you do this, then there's no talk about money. For example, tadi saya cerita pasal buku tadi kan. I can tell you, you go to MTDC now, all my staff, former staff, all of them, termasuklah driver. You suruh dia bercakap kat depan, they will speak. Did I spend money sending them to Mak Saleh branded leadership public speaking seminar? No. Tapi saya jadi dictator lah mula-mula. Yeah, I had to be. So I said, look, I'm going to have this book club. All of you have to be in the book club, including my drivers and all the drivers. And all of you of the members of the book club must present. And I will catch you if you buat review based on the film. So that's where there are times when you want to do leadership, innovation, leadership is important. But there are times when leadership is not required. And there are times when money is required. There are times when money is not required. I mean, this sounds like truism, but that's what it is. That's what it is, So kalau cikgu, I think there's a lot of things yang cikgu ni boleh. My wife was bukan nak puji bini wife sendiri, tapi my wife dah jadi cikgu. Apa dia panggil cikgu apa? Cikgu yang dapat award tiap-tiap tahun tu? Cikgu cemerlang kan? Sebab I didn't know she had entrepreneurial skill. Suddenly dia kena jadi cikgu koperasi. And tak pernah sekolah dia, cikgu koperasi buat duit. Dia jadi cikgu koperasi, dia dapat cikgu cemerlang sebab koperasi buat 30,000 profit. And what did they do? What did she do? Because, she made an effort to really look at how to run a koperasi in the school. So, banyak benda ni kadang-kadang, because, macam you cakap tadi kan, alah, koperasi sekolah ni tak pernah buat duit, kita jadi cikgu koperasi, kita lepak je lah. This is the problem of innovation. Because we just go with the flow. That's how it was done before, let's go and do it. Can you imagine kalau tiap-tiap sekolah buat 30,000 setahun, a lot of money can be used with the thing, right? So, my answer sounds like motivational talk, tapi begitulah adanya.
Thank you, Dato'. Okay, we don't have much time left. We have about 7 minutes left. Any burning question from anybody? Okay. Oh yeah, you got your second point.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Kalau kita tengok the Global Innovation Index recently 2023 kan, right? So our innovation input is ranked better. That is on the 35th compared to our innovation output that is ranked 37. So my suggestions, especially to MOSTI lah, or to the government of Malaysia, I think what we have now is we are too much focusing on linear progression innovation model. Whereas after hearing from all the three panels as well as moderator, we should move to the more open model of innovation, which should emphasize on R&D, equitable. So, another one is empowering the people. So this is what Amazon is being doing to get the best of the people to solve the problem. Then only our innovation outputs can be. This is my suggestions. Thank you, Prof.
I think you have just summed up the moderator's point. Okay. Okay, thank you very much, Professor. Okay, any more? Ada tak lagi cadangan, pandangan daripada particularly from the government sector, please. Ada? Tak ada, eh? Okay, please, yes.
Terima kasih moderator and panel. Saya Zairi daripada Kementerian Kerja Raya. So tadi ada petik pasal kesesakan Kerja Raya tadi. So dia menjentik hati lah. Okay. By the way, actually I want to share something lah. One of the mungkin kita break the shell pasal macam mana contribution atau collaboration between universities and government agencies. Actually one of the yang berjaya ataupun saya sendiri melalui ialah actually under UTM myself. They invited already the professional from government sectors untuk contribute dalam satu research together dengan lecturers. So we do the research together. So the output from that, actually one of the grants saya pun salah satu yang terlibat, dijemput oleh UTM sendiri, one of the lecturer from our fakulti Alam Bina. So kita have some studies related to the transport of the traffic, yang mana grant daripada KPT. So I think salah satu cara untuk kita contribute lah the idea between professional and also for academician and also for industry. Yang kedua is about, saya nak tanya mungkin petua, is about Hanadim tadi. Okay, I'm really interested about Hanadim. Actually innovation, ecosystem, the innovation ecosystem kita perlu ada the promotion, acceptance. Actually from the elders, from the seniors. Okay, kadang-kadang innovation tak berlaku benda-benda kita perlu cipta benda baru. Even in dalam management. When we talk something from a junior like me, the officer junior in government, some of the ideas come out to the seniors. We do the approach about the 6-head approach. We use the 10-man approach dalam management. Give some ideas, we argue, but at the end kita akan jadi idea dalam government usus, you suggest, you suffer. I doubt it's a reality in government. Yang kedua, you akan be the bad boy lah. Yang Akept could be, you akan the seniors akan tengok you macam satu threat. So what the petua among the elders, I think, to us, how kita dah ada approach dah untuk innovate. Saya sendiri a few years saya dah approach. Some of my innovation saya dah commercialize, even though from the government side. Saya dah jual some of the system through the kementerian. So berjaya. Cuma kadang-kadang macam ni lah, kita dihantar, okay, pergi innovation, course, seminar. Tapi bila balik, stop, I don't want like that. Okay, keep it maybe later. So that's pandangan juga soalan.
I can relate on that point. At Rsog we have this term kita panggil the nail that sticks out always get hammered. Okay, well, any response from Dr.
Okay, I'll start. I think that is the root cause of the problems that we are facing sebenarnya. All right, there must be a change in the processes, the mechanisms, so to speak, to enable innovation to happen. All right, as a London Business School call it the adhocracy approach. Right, I don't see why we cannot do it, but someone needs to enable that to happen, and maybe Rsog. We can give them the task, boleh kan? Now, one of the things that I saw how the New Zealand government did it as part of their digital transformation to enable this to happen. They brought a group of them, I think it was to Harvard, which includes the topmost person in the government and the second level, because what happened, yang topmost selalu nak pencen kan? So that also the second level, so that ada continuity. And that's where they get familiarized on digital transformation for the government. Because if you think about digital transformation, it's really a mindset change though. It's not technology. I mean, technology has been democratized, right? So what's the problem? It's a mindset change. And unfortunately, because mindset change is a people change, kalau orang bawah ni cuba tukar setakat yang bawah je lah. Alright, it has to come from the top. So one thing maybe out of this, we give the onus to Rsog to drive a top-down mindset change to drive digital transformation. And that's digital transformation. It's not about technology, it's not about kita ada all this KPI. It's about, how can I change the mindset of the leaders so that they can enable digital transformation to happen at grassroots level. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Boleh tak?
Saya tak ada pencet, okey.
Ini bukan petua lah, ini pengalaman sikit lah. I think we have to do it if possible in our own way. For example kan, bila kita buat projek 180 juta UTM tu dengan loan, kita skip satu step. And I took the risk. Of course you have to be good in negotiation lah. Tapi tak salah. Okay, dan untuk nak cerita lebih lanjut, masa saya tengah buat, dah almost to at the end of the completion of the building, that it was, you know kan, construction is very big risk.
Yeah.
So kita loan 180 juta, kita boleh collapse because kita tak boleh siap the building. So choosing the contractor, handling your buying, nego dengan your board, nego dengan KPT, dengan MOF. So ada step tu yang saya skip. Bila saya skip, bila dah hujung nak siap tu, tiba-tiba KPT panggil saya. Bukanlah panggil, sebenarnya jumpa lah. Dia kata, Prof, dia kata, you tak ikut rule ni. Tapi kita, yang lain kita ikut. Kita hantar surat MOF kita dapat, surat daripada KPT kita dapat. Satu step tu kita tak pergi UKAS. So dia pegang kat situ. Saya kata, nama pun saya ingat lagi. Saya kata, you janganlah bising at this stage. Dah nak siap. So apa petua kat situ? Maknanya you kena buat lah. Cuma at that time, saya macam ni. Saya bukan pertama kali, you know your ex-KSU Mosti kan, yang pergi ke KPT kan. So saya pernah berdepan dengan dia. So apa saya kata masa tu? Saya kata, Tan Sri kan. No, you kena buat benda ni, kena berani buat. Tapi kami lecturer tau. Lecturer ni, kalau you tak jadi BC, you balik jadi profesor. Secure, you tak adalah. Kalau dia cold storage pun cold storage kat fakulti. So apa yang saya buat bila berdepan, bukan salah, tak salah, ada sikit ethical issue. Saya kata dengan dia, I don't mind losing my job as VC. Nasib baik dia tak naik angin masa tu. Kalau dia kata okay, off you go, habis. So ini satu benda yang you kena pegang lah. Saya pernah dengar juga KSU berdepan dengan menteri kan. You janganlah bercerita depan-depan dia, tak setuju kan. You kena pergilah. I mean, this is the thing yang kita buat. Saya buat benda tu. Yang satu example, saya bypass UKAS lah untuk siapkan bangunan tu. Alhamdulillah, kita overcome that risk. Siap lah. Kalau tak siap, saya kena balik.
Okay lah, saya bagi. Actually, this is not an innovation question. This is more a career question. I give you the petua lah. Petua dia macam ni. First and foremost, from a CEO perspective, you always want to see people with initiative. Regardless you government, department ke tidak, you still want to see people with initiative. The problem is that the way we drive our initiative kadang-kadang macam Datuk kata tadi, kita tak ada skill. Kita pergi lawan dia depan-depan orang ramai, which is foolish, you know, ataupun kita tak cukup connection. So you know, the petua is like this. You know, petua ni not so innovation, but about growing your career. Now, if you already have the initiative, which definitely you already have, then banyak orang bila dia nak mendaki tangga career ni, dia orang tak fikir what are the components that they have to manage. Because kadang-kadang kita cuma tengok kita saja, which is tak betul juga. Sebab at the end it is about life. So one is your initiative, that's really good. Now, when you want to sell an idea, you have to pitch your ideas to people, and you have to have supporters. And this is where the networks come in. And ramai orang, dia tak build this network. You know, dia dengan kawan-kawan dia je. Dia, and this is kalau kita, staff saya, kalau pergi program luar, saya tengok dia orang berkumpul sama-sama dia orang akan kena marah, kena tegur. I don't send you out for you to be chummy among yourself. So if you have an idea that you want to grow your career, then your networks have to be expanded. You tak perlu calculative. Tapi, you know, because you must remember satu lagi ialah, network ialah, kadang-kadang orang ni salah tau. Dia kata network ni kabel. Kabel bukan network. Kabel is, you know, a negative connotation. Network. So we need to build our networks. Because at the end of the day, if you want to do it alone, macam saya kata tadi, walaupun you kena buat, tapi you kena ada benda-benda lain you kena buat. You have to have networks. So in your case, you have to have networks, universities. JKR atau kementerian ni ada institute sekarang ni kan, you kena ada range. And you, whenever you have this kind of program, I always tell my staff, you know, you must make sure when you go to a program, if you tak kenal orang, You must know. A lot of people cannot manage upward. They can manage lateral, peers, but they cannot manage upward. Ramai orang tak boleh. Itu sebab staff saya suruh dia present depan saya buku, because for them to be comfortable talking to senior people. Many people are not comfortable. Because you know, when you talk to senior people, depends. We talk dengan Sultan ada cara lain. Dengan VC ada cara lain. Dengan VC pandai. Dengan DG mungkin cara lain. You know, these are things that we have to learn. Because kita tak bolehlah kata, oh I have the best idea, but semua orang tak sokong. Cara kita cakap tu pun kita dah bodohkan semua orang. You know, siapa nak sokong? Right. So the petua there is that it's not an innovation petua, but it's a career petua. You know, as you grow, satu, you must build your expertise in one area, but you must have your knowledge in all the areas. This is again what I told my staff in MTDC. Kalau you cannot tell your mother-in-law what MTDC is doing, you are not MTDC staff. Because MTDC is very complex organisation. Bukan universiti senang nak cakap. Yeah? So you must be able to know the operation of your organisation and be an expert in your field of expertise. Itu. So that you bukan saja bila orang nak kata kita cold storage dia, kalau kita cold storage dia ramai ni sebab dia web. You know, this is defensive tactic. Yeah. Then nombor dua, your networks must be built. You kena build networks. You want to go up, you have to build networks, because you build networks, satu, your team, dua, outside your team. Your team is your wingman. That's why kalau kita tengok apa nama filem apa benda tu, kapal terbang tu, fighter jet, dia ada wingman. Yeah, and Khalid Awalid ada wingman dia. You must go and read military strategy book. Bukan sebab nak berperang, sebab nak tahu how things are move. Because dalam military, kalau you baca marketing, they go to military. You baca strategy, go why? Because military strategy dia cuma ada dua pilihan, hidup atau mati. So it's very precise and they're very clinical. So you kena baca. So they have wingman. You kena ada wingman in your team, because you cannot protect yourself all the time. Kita, all of us, I'm sure Datuk pun, kita when we jadi CEO ni, kita sudah ditikam berkali-kali. This is the truth of life, you know, and you cannot go up just because of you. That's why CEO patutnya diharamkan cakap aku buat ni, tak boleh, because it is we, it's not I. That's why bila we say we, your networks, your team, your knowledge, your drive, and tadi saya sebut tadi your vision, barulah boleh plug in the innovation tu. Sebagai former CEO punya career advice lah.
Thank you very much, Dato'. Okay. We are in this room because we want to learn from one another. Yeah, and I'm very grateful to our three very distinguished speakers in imparting their knowledge and experience to us. Likewise, I'm very grateful pada tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang sudi membawa isu-isu yang perlu kita bincangkan bagi menggerakkan negara kita. That's the pledge that we have at Rsog. So, what's next at Rsog? We are going to pick up issues that has been raised up from this conversation. Among others, if I can just list, I hope my people are writing this down there. Actually, they have been writing it from just now. The paradigm, or rather the narrative on the purpose of innovation, that has to be put straight. Should it be more on economic purpose, or should it be about empowering the community? That's a paradigm, or rather that's a narrative on innovation that we made. Yeah? Okay? And then we would like to also put that in order to move the innovation ecosystem, one has to have that entrepreneurial mindset. When we talk about entrepreneurial, it's not about economic. It's about making things better, creating a better future. And how enterprising or how entrepreneurial mind see that this is the way forward in driving the innovation ecosystem. And last, certainly not least, is what would be the culture of needed in development and innovation ecosystem that must be embedded in the community. Every single one person, somebody was saying it, bottom-up approach of cultural innovation rather than waiting for the boss or the leaders to instruct us to do things. And likewise, the boss or the leaders must recognize that the bottom-up approach is what is going to be more effective in developing a community of innovative community, basically innovative community. So the 3 key points we are taking it up, and inshallah, we have a pledge that we want to move our nation, my stakeholders, or rather my friendly stakeholders with Rsog are one with a lot of experience. They have got their tacit knowledge within them, and whatever is being laid down on the ground are real issues that we need to tackle together. So, ladies and gentlemen, can we one more time give a round of applause for our panel speakers? I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for spending your time here and imparting your knowledge and also your experiences, because it is the way forward for Rsog tomorrow. Thank you very much. And on behalf of Rsog, thank you very much to all our speakers. Back to Firas.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to all the panelists and moderator for the wonderful and insightful sharing. Moving on, I welcome Yang Mulia Professor Dr. Harshita Aini Harun, Director of Higher Education Leadership Academy, to deliver her closing remarks. Please welcome Prof. Doctor.
Thank you very much, Firas. This is a very government way of doing things. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Rsog, for inviting us to collaborate with you on this conversation series. I would like to thank you, Dr. Zaha, Dato' Wahid Omar, Professor Dato' Wahid Omar, and also Dato' Nur Halim for your contribution today. And for Akept, there's a lot of takeaways for us, particularly as those who do not know, Higher Education Leadership Academy also does training on matters that we have spoken about, and in particular of innovation ecosystem. Terasa banyak tadi pasal universiti, banyak cakap kan. And we need to be training our university leaders, of course, towards current, more relevant mindset, I guess. And what we have taken away from today is wonderful. Thank you. I do hope people who are here today, people who have attended, are able to take away reflections towards improvement, reorganization of your own thoughts, and of course, the little or big that you can do for your organizations. Certainly, we will work further with Rsog. And also, we hope to then engage with Dr. Zaha. We already engaged with Dato' Wahid Omar and also Dato' Nur Halim. Kalau kita jemput boleh no? Okay, insyaAllah. For Dato' Wahid Omar, we are also involved in the coining of the new Plan Pembangunan Pendidikan Tinggi, and hopefully the input from today we can also take away for the discussion at that level. So thank you very much, Rsog, Dr. Kamal. Thank you very much all. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Doctor, for the insightful speech. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to present a token of appreciation to all the guests of honor. I would like to invite Dr. Kamal and Professor Dr. Harshita to present a token of appreciation to all the panelists.
That one belongs to you.
Please welcome Prof. Dato' Engineer Dr. Wahid Omar.
You go away with 2 bags. You all right? Okay, right.
Okay.
You can take 2 bags.
Ini pun ada innovation lah.
We will have to sort ourselves out about this later.
Next, welcome Dato' Nur Halim bin Yunus.
So, thank you very much. Sekali lah. Yeah.
Dr. Zaha Mansur.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Next, welcome Dr. Kamal to receive appreciation gift from Professor Dr. Harshita Aini Harun.
This is interesting.
Bukan rival, eh?
No, we're collaborators. In a good sense.
Yes. Thank you.
Finally, welcome Prof. Dr. Hashita to receive appreciation gift from Dr. Kamal.
I got mine too.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that, our session today is coming to an end. We would like to thank all the panelists, Akept, and all the guests for making this session a memorable one. We hope everyone have gained valuable knowledge throughout the day. We truly hope to see everyone in our future program. Before we proceed to the networking lunch and photography session, please scan the QR code in front for feedback purposes.